Welcome back, Nick Lenz's novel reviews. This is episode number 10 and Doubleshot number 5. Okay? First up, it's Star Trek, the original series. Foul Deeds Will Rise. Written by George Cox. Now, this book is set pretty much like not long after the events of Star Trek V, The Final Frontier. I didn't find that out because it didn't have a historian's note in here until almost the book was halfway through. It's set in the Enterprise A, pretty much like who was in those positions basically after that movie, still in the same spots. They bring up the fact, McDuckin brings up the fact that in sickbay, his office actually has a door now. I am not kidding about that. He actually brings up because because this book is also a follow-up to an episode from the original series. It's some Shakespearean episode. Let me look it up here. I know it's an episode from season 1. I'm looking it up right now. Just want to be honest here. The episode is called "The Conscience of the King." Very Shakespearean type episode. So basically, you have a lot of Shakespearean type stuff in here. You have basically Lenore, who is the daughter of the character Kodos the Executioner. Now, in the original story, I should mention this. Kirk is called to a planet whose governor is an old friend of his, and had him watch a play. Now, later on, he revealed why he was actually invited there. He was invited there because the governor believes that that the lead actor of the play, the older guy, if you watch the episode, is Kodos the Executioner, a guy responsible for a massacre, killing half of a population, just because of survival and stuff like that. Kodos himself, basically, who's in the episode, when it's Lario, he really is Kodos, he actually regrets his actions. And his daughter basically has gone insane and start killing the men who actually have physical seen him. By the time this episode is over, only 2 are left. Kirk and Kevin Riley, who's in this book. And he's now currently an ambassador. And it's revealed in this book that after the events of the original series, when Kirk became an admiral, Kevin Riley became his aide, which for some reason stirred some controversy. Like some people higher up didn't like that. But okay. But basically there's some murders going on board, and people suspect it's Lenore because she is a convicted murderer. And plus, she was insane. And apparently, it's been 20 years since then. Despite the fact the character was 19 at the time, so 20 years. So, if it's been 20 years, that means one thing. That right now, she's possibly in her early 40s. And she wants to end her family bloodline. That's why she's never had any kids or gotten married. She's still in love with Kirk. That's one thing is true. She's still in love with Kirk. Kirk still likes her. I like the fact that she's got some character. And she's not really the murderer. I won't reveal who the murderer is. I'm not going to spoil the ending of it. But there's a delegation on board, and Lenore's suspected, but it's somebody else. I won't reveal who it is, but I can tell you this. It's not Lenore. She's not the one who commits these murders. Plus, there's a subplot involving Spock and Scotty going to a military base to inspect it for some reason. I don't know. But the good news about this book is this is one of the very few books where it's not just Kirk, Spock, and McCoy doing something. You have pretty much the entire original series characters actually doing something. They actually are contributing to the story. So it's a really good story. I should mention it's written by George Cox, who was a regular writer for writing the original series novels. So you basically have murder mystery in your hands. So, say what you will about the original series camp, but the novels are really good. And I keep wondering, why doesn't Paramount consider these books canon? Why? Because they contradict the show? Not really, no. That's one thing that they do best. The only books that actually contradict the show is Enterprise books. Because here's the thing. They did these novels after the series, and they completely ignored the series finale. Because even both the cast of Enterprise and probably some people who worked on the episode, even the cast and fans knew all these voyages, the final episode of Enterprise, was really bad. It was worse than Terra Intruder. I am not kidding. It was worse than that episode. So those novels ignore that finale and pretty much pick up right at the Terra Prime. Terra Prime is considered by all fans to be the true finale of the series, not all these voyages. But despite that, like I said, this book doesn't contradict anything. It just follows up on something that happened in the original series, and I do praise the fact the original series does this. As a matter of fact, the original series novel does a lot more than, let's say, Enterprise did this once, and that was very recently in the Rise of Federation series. As for the other series, Next Generation a couple times, but a lot of time it's just the original series, Titan, a little bit of Voyager, and Deep Space Nine definitely does follow up on the episodes too. But actually, I don't think Deep Space Nine has done it lately, but they have done it. But this is still good. I give this book a 9 out of 10. I do recommend it. Alright, next up is Star Wars, Lords of the Sith, written by Paul S. Kemp. A book that takes place between the events of Revenge of the Sith. Okay. Takes place between the events of Revenge of the Sith and New Hope. And from what I know from the Star Trek timeline, this takes place directly before, not long before the events of the book Star Trek Tarkin. And yes, now some people believe that Vader would not use his lightsaber, despite the fact that if you look at the cover of New Dawn, the main character has a lightsaber already ignited. He doesn't use it at all in the book. And yeah, and the Emperor does use his Force Lightning, and he uses his lightsaber in here. Basically, you have apparently there's this group of rebels who shot down a Star Destroyer. Well, at least they sabotaged it, and basically the Emperor, Vader, and a few stormtroopers survive, and they have to get to a particular point, and they're like jungle stuff like that. It's a really good trek, and the book is very good. And from a lot of Star Wars fans who read the current canon novel, this is considered one of the best Star Wars novels of new canon. People love this book because it's a book focused on Vader and the Emperor. Now, despite the fact that it's Vader and the Emperor, it's a lot more focused on Vader as a main character, while the Emperor is kind of a supporting character in a way, but he does contribute to the book tremendously. And I love the quote back in here. Witness the power of the dark side. Yes, that is a quote. See that? That's an actual quote. So, this is a fun novel to read, and I do highly recommend it. Even if you never read Star Wars before and you're interested in reading novels, I would recommend the current canon along with 3 other books. Dark Plagueis, because some parts of the book are considered canon. Well, at least the book was brought into canon by the writer of the book when he wrote Tarkin. I think that the Darth Vader book should be considered canon, and it doesn't contradict anything. So that's another book I recommend. Another book I recommend is Kenobi, which picks up right after he's last seen in Revenge of the Sith, and covers the first 2 years of his 19-year exile on Tatooine. I do recommend those 3 books. Plus new canon, and definitely this book too. I give this book a 9.5 out of 10. This book is awesome. Yep. Alright then. That's it for this episode. Stay tuned whenever I get a chance to do another episode. This will be episode 11. And I'll decide if I want to do Doubleshot or not. For this series, it doesn't really matter if I do Doubleshot or not, as long as I do the episode. For my comic corner, I like doing double shots. Makes phase a bit longer, okay? But until then, see you there. Bye.